You're welcome back to the programme. Now, new research commissioned by Coillte has suggested that hours spent in front of a screen, less time playing outdoors, and a society faced with the concerns of stranger danger has created a whole generation of children who simply don't spend enough time outside. Joining me in the studio, I have Emma Godsil, Director of Godsil Education, and on the line Stella O'Malley, psychologist and author of Cotton Wool Kids. Thank you both and welcome to the programme. Emma, just to start with you, this research, what exactly did it show us?
Well, firstly, thanks for having me on. This research is showing us essentially that we have a new generation of Irish children who spend more time looking at screens than any other activity. And really what this is meaning is that these children are missing out on playing outdoors, on real nature experiences, with the research that the CompassClub has done showing that over half of children have never climbed a tree.
That's what the CompassClub is.
Yeah, the CompassClub is a new outdoors after schools initiative that is designed to bring the kids back into the outdoors. But this research shows that over half of the kids have never climbed a tree, Mick. And the same percentage of children have never gone walking with their friends in a forest. I mean, this is really worrying stuff. And so what CompassClub does, as I said, is it invites those children back into the outdoors to discover their passion and a curiosity and a love for nature again through a programme of outdoor activities and games. And
is some of it down to the urbanisation of society? Far more people now grow up in cities and big towns than would have been the case 20 years ago.
Well, possibly so. But I think, we need to get children, what we need to do is figure out what's important. And what's important here is that play is a vital part of a child's physical, emotional and social development. And this platform really helps parents give their children those opportunities and helps with the whole idea of that stranger danger that lots of people are talking about now and was mentioned earlier.
Just explain stranger danger to us, please.
Well, stranger danger is a phenomenon that children might be harmed by strangers in the course of a child's life when they're out and about, and it's a very real concern for parents, and understandably so. But I do think that we need to move away despite these concerns and find a way to bring the kids back into the outdoors because it's such a vital part of their development.
Okay, Stella O'Malley, welcome to the programme. Stella, do you believe that our kids are now effectively wrapped in cotton wool in this regard?
I do. I think parents have their eye on the wrong ball, and I can see why they have their eye on the wrong ball insofar as they know they should be worried about something and they kind of grasp around, and stranger danger rhymes, and there's something almost kind of easy about that concept that we need to fear the stranger. But in truth, 92% of abuse of children actually happens with somebody they know or somebody in authority. So it's not as if we're correct in worrying about the stranger. What we need to be worrying about is, to be honest, in this world, is things like obesity or children's mental health. Because with children's anxiety rising, that's what we should be worrying about. And actually, the good news on that is that if children had more freedom, if children had more fun, and if they weren't both so filled with fear, actually they would be happier, and there would be less issues, less children coming to psychotherapists like myself for anxiety when they're in their teens.
But apart from the specifics of stranger danger, Stella, I mean, in general, parental anxiety now, I think it's fair to say, is far greater. I'll put it another way. Did parental anxiety exist 20 years ago or more?
Yeah, it does. Certainly we're talking about it a lot more now. I'd say there was plenty of parental anxiety, but we're certainly talking about it, and we're aware of it, and we worry about it, and we try to cater for it. But yeah, there is more pressure. There's more heightened expectation on parents, and therefore parents feel that they're failing. And that's one of the main reasons I wrote my book, Cotton Wool Kids, was because so many parents who are clearly loving, clearly bringing their kids here, there and everywhere and providing them with this great childhood, were fearing that they were failing and fearing that they weren't up to scratch and they weren't good as his nibs down the road who's doing absolutely everything. I think this initiative is amazing because it's bringing kids back to nature. And all of us know that if you're in trouble in life, emotionally, if you can on some level connect with nature, generally you'll feel better. Whether it is a kid climbing a tree and looking out into the distance and feeling like king of the jungle, or other things that nature gives you.
Emma, the other thing that strikes you about it is even when kids do go outside now, it's far more structured. than used to be the case.
That's quite right. And going back to what Stella has said, I mean, parents can feel reassured, I suppose, about this initiative, in that it's happening in a safe and it's in a supervised environment. With qualified leaders. And these leaders are really encouraging the kids to get down and dirty and get involved with forest adventures like climbing trees and building shelters and, you know, rope swinging and scavenger hunts and all the things that we did when we were kids. And, you know, there's some really nice moments around the ends of these sessions where the kids are toasting marshmallows on a gas stove and they're having great fun. They're covered in muck head to toe. They're exhausted. But, you know, they're bringing their parents actually. In a really nice kind of family twist, they're bringing their parents, dragging them into the woodlands around the country and saying, look, this is the shelter I built during the week, or my clay face is still there, and maybe teaching their mums and dads a little bit, you know, a tour thing about the outdoors. So there's that really nice kind of family benefit to it.
Yeah, just a text here from Michelle and Mead. If you want children out playing, then cut the ridiculous amount of homework they have. My 9 and 7-year-old had over an hour each of homework tonight after spending 6 hours in school. How can they go out and play when it's now starting to get dark earlier? They lose points at school if homework isn't done, and that makes them anxious. I know this is a huge issue amongst parents. Is that a big issue?
It is a huge issue among parents. It's an absolute nightmare for parents, and I'm so anti-homework these days because it's causing so much trouble among families, loving families, and they say the only fight we ever have with our child is over homework, and we have a fight every day over homework. It's awful how much homework is being put on children, and they hate it, and I'm not convinced of the benefits.Maybe when they're older, but not for younger children like 7-year-olds, 6-year-olds. They don't need homework.
I totally agree with Stella. I mean, they're already working from, you know, 9 a.m. till 2 a.m. or 3 p.m. I should say. I mean, as adults, I don't know if we'd like to do a day's work and then come home and launch back into more homework. I mean, they need to be building resilience, building confidence, building their flexibility, which is what outdoor learning is all about, and the benefits have been very well documented. Certainly from an educational standpoint, we were involved in embedding a strengths-based educational approach into the CompassClub programme. And for those listeners who mightn't have heard of this particular concept, it works on the idea that building on what a child is already good at and enhancing their inherent strengths and spending time nurturing those is far more motivating than trying to fix a child's weaknesses, be they academic or otherwise. And this is a very, very powerful thing. So we've embedded this into the CompassClub programme so the kids who are participating can begin to understand and recognise and identify what their own talents and strengths are. So I would fully agree with Stella in terms of the anti-homework and get them back out.
Emma, you mentioned screens. The screens more a symptom or cause?
Well, it's hard. It's a cause probably. I mean, the lure of the screen is very attractive for young people, but nothing replaces that real interaction that the people get.
But what I'm getting at is it a question of, because of parental anxiety, there is less freedom for the children, are not out as much, and the fact that they're in the house, then they revert to the screens?
Well, it's probably a bit of a catch-22 situation, but I think that the more opportunity we give children to go outside, and programmes like this and others, Scouts and Guides, great movements have been around for years, and they do provide a platform for kids to be able to be creative and be free and have a license to enjoy themselves in the outdoors. And we need more of these programs, but certainly this is something that is starting on Monday the 19th of September in locations nationwide.
Okay, and we've a text in here from Sarah and Balbriggan. My 3 children are in the Scouts and get to spend a huge amount of time climbing trees, mountains, etc. It's the best thing we ever did. My eldest is 16 and loves sitting inside with the Xbox, but when it comes to time for getting out with the Scouts, I can't keep him in. Stella?
Yes?
I mean, the Scouts, again, that's a structured environment. Is there an issue around the fact that these days it has to be some form of a structured environment for children a lot of the time?
Well, I'd be very pro free environment where the kids just go out to play on their own and learn to, you know, build it on their own, play it on their own and entertain themselves. However, something like the CompassClub and Scouts are just such gorgeous concepts, and kids these days, to get them off the screens, they need things like the Compass Club or Scouts to lure them away, because the culture is so toxic at this stage that they just revert to the screen at the slightest flick of the hand. They're straight toward their screens as soon as they're bored, as we all are. You only get served your coffee and you're dragging out your phone to sleep. It's unbelievable how we're all addicted, and therefore, because we're fighting against that culture, just like the organic food culture is fighting against the toxic junk food culture, we kind of have to. We need these initiatives to get the kids, to lure them out.
Okay, that's the Compass Club. Where can people find out about this?
They can find www.compassclub.ie starting Monday the 19th of September nationwide.
Okay. Emma Godsil, Director of Godsil Education, and Stella O'Malley, author of Cottonwool Kids. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you, Mick.
Thank you.
The Right